It's going.
There we
We
go.
are
We
live.
are live.
How's everybody doing?
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Squared Circle Shenanigans, where I am one of your three hosts, Jeremiah Goldmain.
I am Keith.
And I'm your boy Scotty.
Joining us today, we got our boys over at DT Dub.
Hey, thanks for having us, fellas. Appreciate you guys.
It, guys. Thank you.
Of course.
And then also joining us is a pro wrestling legend. He is a one-time WWF European champion, a WWF tag team champion, a six-time WWF hardcore champion. He is the CEO and co-owner of one of the hottest indie promotions in the wrestling game today.
Very true, very true.
And weirdly enough, he's technically my pro wrestling grandpa because he true about the cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
Here we go.
folks,
Sorry.
and we're here today to talk with Al. We got a bunch of questions, so I think we're going to just hop right into that. Al's
absolutely.
a busy guy. He's got stuff to do, so let's get right into it. I would like to ask you, Al, first of all, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great. If I were doing any better, I'd be jealous of myself.
Let's go.
So, Al, my most memorable, because like you were a big part of my childhood when I watched wrestling. You're part of the
Absolutely.
reason I got into becoming a pro wrestler, because I've always been a fan of the entertainment side. And in your run in WWF, you were literally one of the most entertaining people on the television every week.
Absolutely.
You were
Thank you.
involved in, you're very welcome. You were involved in what I consider to be one of the greatest feuds, and we never talk about it, with you and the Big Boss Man.
Oh, yeah, it was, getting the opportunity to work with the big boss man. He was what an awesome professional and just a wonderful person, and, in and out of the ring. And I really, really enjoyed Ray, and I became friends, from that as well. And, so I feel very fortunate that I got to, work that program with him.
And and folks, if you haven't seen that program, it's one of the most interesting programs in the history of wrestling. It's never been retold,
Never.
which no, it's literally one of those you could never top how
One
they
of a
did
kind.
it. To sum it, so I have a question about Pepper.
Uh-huh.
So
Mm-hmm.
who owned what? Who owned Pepper? Like
A
behind
lady in Detroit, Michigan. They had originally, when they brought Pepper in, even though at my insistence, from day one, I insisted that we only have trained animals, and even the Chihuahua. But they went to a veterinarian clinic and got a list of names of owners who owned Chihuahua puppies, and contacted a lady, and lo and behold, I had Pepper. And that was it.
That's awesome.
Nice.
So
That's awesome. You show up to work and they're like, "Well, here's your new dog."
Here's your new dog. Go out and do something with it.
Did you guys get any flack from doing the Pepper skit? From
yeah. I got a lot of letters and complaints from the SPCA, the PETA, number of other people, that contacted the office, contacted me. I just went. You do realize I didn't actually eat the dog, right? I mean, you do understand that.
No dogs were hot.
I want to jump right in with the hardcore division, the hardcore title.
Yes, sir.
One match that really sticks out to me is St. Valentine's Day Massacre with you and Hardcore Holly, Mississippi River. How cold was that water?
Oh,
It was excruciatingly cold.
Yeah.
Probably not one of my better ideas. Just in my defense, I was walking around earlier in the day, and I was walking around without a coat on. I was like, "Oh, it's pretty warm out here." And I saw the water, and I was like, "Eh, I thought, oh, this will be cool." And then, boy, when I hit that water, it took my breath away, and it was a lot deeper and was moving a lot faster than I thought it would. So
That match itself is unique too, because that was the first time that I remember even seeing like a match, in the water. You know, you guys really took it to them lengths for the hardcore division. So I appreciated that.
Yeah. It was fun but dangerous. So
what are some of your memorable moments, you know, during the hardcore division era?
just lots. I mean, just all kinds. I remember there was one night in Anaheim, California. I was working with Road Dogg, and for whatever reason, we did a spot with a table, and the table wouldn't break, and I'd won the match, and Road Dogg went out, and I kept trying to break I must have tried to break that thing 7 or 8 more times, and then finally I just gave up and declared the table the new hardcore champion, put the belt on it, and walked away. So
I love that.
That was epic.
Yeah. Another night I got, I think it was Bob. We found one of the from the concession stand, one of those big, giant trash bags full of popcorn, clear trash bags. I was like, it's popcorn. It won't hurt. Good Lord, he hit me with that, and I thought my life went out of me. I thought my soul left my body. I was stunned. I was like, what the hell?
Awesome.
So yeah,
What
we
about
had a
you
lot
guys?
of fun.
What was one of your guys' favorite matches for the hardcore division? Scotty, Keith?
So, listen, the hardcore, I would go with the one you already said because of the water. I agree with you on that. Like, that was the first time I remember ever seeing that as well. So it was like it sticks out to me. So you already
It
stole
stuck out to me too.
I enjoyed any of the hardcore matches with Road Dogg or like Raven though as well. That was a really interesting era for multiple reasons and multiple people.
My most memorable moment in the hardcore division, I was telling Keith about this earlier.
Yep.
It's actually from UL. It was the first time I ever saw the bowling ball spot where a guy was seated in the corner. And like as a child, I thought that was like the most brutal thing I had ever seen in the history of wrestling. Like we've seen flaming tables and all that, but I was like, you just roll the bowling ball into that man's nether regions.
The old 7-10 split.
This is true. So now I'm going to switch off from the hardcore division per se, but like my favorite memory that I have that sticks out is the match that you had with Head, where you wrestled, just wrestled Head. It was so awesome. Like, did you call it in the ring, or was that like,
we spent a lot of time going over spots and stuff backstage before we went out. I didn't want to botch anything, so.
Exactly. That's so awesome. That's fabulous. So awesome.
Yeah, Head and I really tried to make sure we were both on the same page. Because sometimes Head tries to go into business for themselves. So,
So I got 2 words: Head cheese.
Yes.
Let's talk about it a little bit. I was working with Black.
Steve is fantastic. I love Steve. He is a great guy, and he's an even better straight man. And that was what made doing that work so well and was so much fun, was because he legitimately is so serious all the time, and complete opposite of me. Because I just don't care. I mean, and he's so steadfast, and so it's funny because prior to that, there was an idea that Brian Gewirtz was trying to do, that we're going to create this gimmick called the Swarm, which was where I was going to have like 20 little people all dressed alike, and I would come out on stage and point to the ring, and an air raid siren would come on, and all of them would come out from under the ring like ants and attack whoever I was pointing at my command. And Vince was like, nah, I don't want to do that. And so didn't know what to do. And so I approached him and I said, hey, why don't you put me with Blackman? Because I can make his not having a personality a personality. And so that's what we did. And the vignettes that we did backstage, got so popular that, because they could track, even back then, they could track every minute of the show. And our backstage segments were getting higher ratings than the stuff that people were doing out in front of the camera, in front of the audience. So we literally almost made our own a show within a show for ourselves.
Underrated tag team. I need a battle pack. I need an elite Steve Blackman and El Snow.
With the cheese head accessory.
With the cheese, absolutely.
That little mannequin head.
Like
Yeah.
another epic run of your, like, I don't think people like, so like I'm on the pro wrestling side, and everybody, like, you are a legend, like, among pro wrestlers, you know, like greater than Hogan, like you are talking
Absolutely.
about.
I don't know about that.
No,
Oh,
at
absolutely.
least up here in the Detroit area, because like truth says nothing but great things about your training for him. Like, you made him who he is. But like the entertainment side that you brought in the WWF was amazing. Your European title run, where every week you were representing a different nation.
Yeah.
In Europe.
That was awesome.
Was that your idea?
I know that was Brian Gewirtz came to me and you know, had this idea about, you know, representing a different European country, and it was actually here in Louisville, out at the Broadbent Arena. We were doing TV, and so I spent like an hour in a sound booth, you know, recording what does everybody want, and then I would say head in like 8 or 10 different European languages. So so they would play that in those languages of the country that I was representing. So I did Italian, German, you know, I did Romanian, couple other different languages, Spanish, French, and you know, at the time, like the first time I went out, I was like, ah, man, I feel so ridiculous. You know, I just felt like they were trying to make me look like an ass, and I was like, you know what? If they're gonna make me look like an ass, I'm gonna take control of this, and I'm gonna make myself look like as big an ass as possible. So after that, I just embraced it, and you know, I tried to just make it more and more over the top, you know, because every time I came out, I would be dressed as the country. I'd dress head as the country, and then I would bring a picture of a celebrity from that country, and then I'd bring a food item. You know, I don't know where the food came from, but you know, we just started doing that. So, and then, like, you know, when I was Transylvania, I came out dressed as a vampire and had a box of Count Chocula and had a little plastic bat flapping around my shoulder. And still to this day, I have so many people come up and remark about that, you know, that run with the European title and how much they enjoyed it and loved it and how entertained they were. So, you know, something that I thought at the time was silly has really helped create a lot of memories for years to come. So I'm really glad they did it. You know, I'm really happy that I had the chance to do it, and it was
Al,
it was a lot of fun at the time.
Al, if you had to put together a Mount Rushmore of hardcore wrestlers, who would it be?
Oh God, I don't know. You know, probably Dreamer would have to be on there, I would imagine. Mick, of course. Who else? Well, you know, like Sushi Onita, I don't think gets the credit for coming up with a lot of that goofy crap over in Japan. So maybe him, just to pay him his due. Hardcore Holly was right up there, you know. So yeah, something like that, I would say. Road Dogg too. I mean, Road Dogg was really good at it and a lot of fun, you know, when he was involved as well.
I got one more. Who, for the fans out there, who did you travel most with? You know, whether it was the car rides or on the plane, who did you run with?
You know, it depended because, you know, everybody would switch up. You know, you'd have a period of time where you'd ride with somebody, and then because you're eating with them, sleeping with them, you know, working with them, working out with them, you never get away from them. And so little things would start to wear on your nerves, and you'd always see guys hop from car to car, you know, over a period of time. So like Mick and I traveled together, Mick and I and Gangrel traveled together, Mick and I and Gangrel and Steve Regal, you know, Kane and Bradshaw and Dutch and Barry Horowitz and I, when I first went in, traveled together for a while. Meanie and I traveled together for a while. And there were a lot of times, especially when the head was really over, I would travel by myself, you know, so that I could, you know, I would go into restaurants and public places everywhere and take the head with me and sit there and talk to them and argue with them. And, you know, I got asked to leave a lot of restaurants. So,
Sir, you need to leave. Awesome.
The heads make you uncomfortable.
So
I heard that a lot. Yeah. And I'd be like, well, they're making us uncomfortable. So who should leave? You know,
That's awesome.
we're going to call the police, sir. And I go, okay, got to go.
it was us. It was us that got to go.
Yeah.
So Al, this weekend or over this past weekend, Netflix dropped a new television show called Wrestlers.
Yes.
Starring yourself and the roster of OVW, where you are the head trainer, the CEO, and co-owner of OVW.
And chief cook and bottle washer, carpenter, electrician, plumber. Yeah, you name it. I'm all of that and more. Yeah. Yeah. Prop master, stunt coordinator, you know.
You are the man. You are OVW in a sense.
Pretty much.
So how did that when did that come to be? How did that come to be? How did you end up there?
Well, I still don't know how the hell I ended up there, but one thing led to another, and Danny Davis was ready to retire, and my business partner Chad Miller and Joe Reeves, we initially bought OVW, and you know, and then we brought in Larry Benz, another partner, and we were doing good. I mean, we were really starting to, because it just takes, unfortunately, so much time to really build an audience. And then just as we were starting to hit our stride, COVID struck, and that really hamstrung us and required that we have an infusion of capital. And we brought on Craig Greenberg and Matt Jones and Jeff Tovlin, and they, you know, they took a majority share of the company. And then we've, you know, begun the process again of building an audience. And, you know, it took about probably 2.5 years for all of this, as far as the Netflix portion of things to come about. You know, there's 1,000,000 to 1 chance of not only just, you know, it getting produced at all, but then to get Greg Whiteley, who was the director, producer of Cheer and Last Chance U, which did amazing numbers on Netflix, just incredible. You know, now he signs on, and then, you know, we go through the process and pitch it to Netflix, and then Netflix to agree, and then finally they showed up the end of last May, the last week of May, and then filmed until, you know, the end of August. Basically, you're about, you know, they were here 7 days a week, and about anywhere from 12 to 16 hours a day they were filming.
Wow.
Because this is it's not a reality show. A lot of people have asked that question. It is a documentary. It's a docuseries, and, you know, they just came in and filmed, and what you see on the screen are those people, and, you know, they're not scripted. There's, you know, nothing. And just they turn the cameras on, and literally after a while, you know, the cameras and the crew literally become part of the furniture. You just don't really even pay attention to them anymore.
I did kind of notice that over the course of the show so far. Like, they got really comfortable with the people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. That happens.
So how do you feel with the Wrestlers debuting? Like, it's doing amazing. It's literally, I think it hit #1 trending on Netflix at a point this weekend. How do you feel?
I'm thrilled.
Do you think it's going to have any impact on the draw of OVW as the indie wrestling as a whole?
I hope so. That was the intent, and you know, because I was very reticent about doing it, you know, and pulling back the curtain so far. But the hope was, and you always have to weigh risk versus reward, you know, that it would be done in such a way that if you're a fan, it would give you a new insight and appreciation and respect for everything that you love. And if you were not a fan, it might capture you and motivate you to then want to start watching it. And not only did I hope that that exposure and relevancy for OVW, the wrestlers themselves, but for all of wrestling, would help to elevate it and create a new interest and help build a bigger audience for everyone. So, we'll wait and see if my gamble was correct or not, but I really feel pretty confident that, those goals can be achieved with this, and that I won't regret doing what I did.
Now that we kind of talked about both, I have a quick question myself, actually. So we all know wrestling has its obstacles, and we just talked about you being an owner and you being a part of wrestling. What are some of the the bigger obstacles that you've noticed you had to go through or overcome being an owner compared to being a wrestler yourself?
The talent, probably that's the biggest thing. The wrestling business has been and always will be the wrestler's business, and unfortunately, most of the wrestlers in the business nowadays don't want to really be in the real wrestling business. They want to pursue it as a hobby or a pastime or a fantasy, or they want to play wrestler. They don't want to really invest in being a wrestler. And those are two different worlds, contrary to what anybody will want to think or say. I have a ton of wrestlers here, that will tell me at a drop of a hat, hey, this is all I've ever wanted to do. I'll do anything, I'll sacrifice anything. And they won't, because I don't judge them by what they do. I judge them by what they say. And their actions speak so much louder than anything they say. For case in point, we had a multi-million-dollar television project here last summer. And Doug Basham, a former WWE guy, is my head trainer. He runs training classes on Mondays and Wednesdays for 2 hours a night. They had BBC America was here, had the cameras here every Monday and every Wednesday night. And you would think that place would be packed with people wanting to get themselves on camera.
I was going to say,
getting exposure.
Who showed up would be there.
Same people that showed up before were the same people that showed up during. So, when you come and tell me that you want this more than anything in the world, but you can't even invest the time and effort to get in your car and drive 20 minutes across town to the arena on a Monday night and a Wednesday night to do two things. One, to even have a chance of getting on camera and getting some exposure on a platform that's going to go worldwide. And then having an opportunity to maybe go up and talk to the director or the producer or the crew and tell them your story, and them now be motivated to maybe feature you and focus on you. Don't waste your time and don't waste mine, because you're the only person you're lying to is yourself. And there are far more of those type of people, and that's great. I mean, that's good for them. If that's what they want to do, hey, more power to you. But then don't sit there and go, well, I'm entitled to this. I should get this. I've done that. I've done it. You haven't done anything. What you've done is you've played at it. You haven't really committed, and and no matter what you pursue in life, you can't be half pregnant. So you either do it or you don't, and most don't. And that's why we have such a high, failure rate within the business, because it's, quite honestly, it is not a very easy way to live, both physically, mentally, and emotionally. It is a really tough and challenging way to, a career to have. But, if it's something you really want to do and you're truly passionate about, well, it's going to be the most awesome thing you could ever possibly do. I mean, I've been doing it for 41 years. I've never once regretted doing it, and I don't expect that I'll regret doing it anytime in the near future.
That's awesome. Another quick question I have real quick. What's one piece of advice that you'd give to an up-and-comer or a newcomer just trying to get into the business?
The same thing. Don't lie to yourself. Be honest. You can tell yourself all day long, oh, I really want this, I really want this. Well, then you've got to make a conscious decision. If you want to live, and this applies to everything in your life, don't bullshit yourselves. It's not just wrestling. If you really want to do something, you could do anything you want right now. The only reason you're not doing it is because you ain't doing it, period. Because if you want something bad enough, you'll find a way. If you don't, you'll find an excuse. Simple as that. Tell yourself whatever you want to tell yourself, but that's the truth. And if you want to live a life that others don't live, you've got to be willing to do things that others don't do. And most people aren't willing to do that. And that's fine, you know. That's not a put down. You know, it's just a fact that a lot of people need to be honest with themselves and come to grips with. And that will, you know, because there are a lot of people out there that feel like they've never lived up to their full potential, and they, you know, and they are frustrated and, you know, disappointed and, you know, depressed. Well, you could have changed that. You can change it at any minute. You're not a tree. You can make a choice and go, you know what, I'm going to do it, and then go. You know, this BS of, oh, you need a plan B. Well, if you have a plan B, that means you don't believe enough in plan A, and it never is going to succeed. So thank God you have a plan B. You know, I don't have a plan B. I never had a plan B. I had one plan. That was it. You know, and I'm saying that because you asked the question, and that is the answer I give to any young aspiring wrestler. I always tell them they can do it if they want to do it. They can live their dreams. You have to make a decision. You sit on the couch, watch Raw, watch SmackDown, tell yourself, I could do that. No, you can't. You just can't, because you're not willing to do what they were willing to do to be there. Because you could be there if you were willing to do it. Simple as that.
Can you give any thoughts on AEW? Do you watch the program?
I don't really, you know, and not because I don't want to. I just don't get much of an opportunity to, you know, like one of the things I realized for Vince was, and I'm not comparing myself to Vince McMahon by any means. We are worlds apart, but I noticed he never watched any wrestler prior to until they were in his ring. And the reason why he didn't watch anybody else's product is because he just honestly, his focus was 100% on WWF, WWE, which it should be. And I don't really get much of an opportunity to watch any other company shows anymore because, you know, every once in a while I will, but really it's because my focus is on OVW and where it should be, you know, and I, you know, silly, I know, but every once in a while I like a couple hours to where I can not be about wrestling and just live a life. So even if it's just an hour or two here or there where I normally could take that opportunity to watch somebody else's programming, I choose not to do anything with wrestling for that hour or two of the day. So,
You remember getting the call up from ECW to WWE?
Yeah, I remember getting the call up. I remember Vince Russo actually contacted me. We were in Florida, and
Al's got to go, guys.
He's
out.
I think he hit his half hour. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, we can't hear you.
There we go.
There you go.
I remember getting the call from Vince Russo. I was at Jerry Lynn's house. Called me in the evening, and you know, I told him no. Oh no, that was 2 weeks earlier, and I told him no. Told him I didn't want to go back, and I was happy. And then I saw the new opening for the ECW television show, which I felt like wrong, but I felt like I was pretty over at ECW. And usually on your opening of your show, you highlight on the opening of the show everyone that you're really trying to sell. And I was nowhere on it, and I was like, well, that's not a good sign. So I was just like, well, I'm gonna send my stuff over to Vince Russo so he can end. And then a couple weeks later, Vince McMahon called me at my house, and at first I thought somebody was imitating him and ribbing me, and then I realized it was actually him. And then we talked, and he said, well, I'll put you in touch with JR. And then that was it.
Wow.
So Al, for any wrestlers out there that want to try to get, like, they would love to be a part of OVW, I'm sure that's going to be a thing now after this week.
I hope so. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah.
What route, what would you recommend them to do to try to gain a...
They can go to ovwrestling.com. There's contact information there, you know, and then we can just give them an opportunity, you know, come in and work, you know, on one of our TV days, or, you know, at one of our live events, and you know, we'll take a look at them and you know, see if there's potential there, or you know, something that we think we could do. It's no different than you know anywhere else. I mean, you know, you're always evaluating. You know, I am at least, you know, evaluating on, you know, the talent and see a star, how to be an attraction, and you know, are they something that I can sell on TV? Is that when they come through that curtain, is that going to prevent you from turning the channel and you know hold your attention? Is it going to? Are they going to know, or are they teachable and instructable enough to know how to you know to learn how to do that? The other thing is I want to see not only if they have a good attitude, but if they're going to become a cancer in the locker room, because everyone's on the same page in OVW. Everyone does business. Everyone does the favor for everyone else because, quite frankly, that's how everybody makes money. And I don't need someone to come in and you know in that situation. And I don't want to see if they've invested time, money, and effort in themselves. If they walk in looking like you know the average person off the street, well, that tells me right there, you know, that they haven't invested any time or effort in themselves. So why do they think I'll be willing to invest my time, money, and effort when they haven't even done it for themselves to make themselves a marketable product that I can now build on and give a platform to that we together can now make money, because that's really how the business works. You know, this isn't Walmart, guys. I hate to break it to everybody out there listening, but this isn't Walmart. It's not a job. It never has been, never will be. It's a business relationship between the wrestler and the promoter provides the platform and the vehicle, and then the wrestler goes out there, capitalizes on that, and uses it to make himself an attraction, and then the promoter and the wrestler exploit it and make money together. It's not like, oh, well, I wrestled for you, so I deserve money. Well, nobody paid to see you. So therefore, you didn't do your job. You know, it's harsh to hear, I know. And a lot of people, well, you're just saying that because you're a promoter now. No, I'm sorry. I'm not. It was the same when I broke in the business and I would go up and down the roads 5, 6, 7 nights a week. And sometimes I didn't get paid anything. And sometimes I got paid $5 or $6 or 10. Sometimes I had to push the car into town to heat up food on the engine of my car because I had no money. And the reason I didn't have any money is because my name wasn't on a poster. I was no factor in how many people showed up in that building. You know, I was plus one other match or other exciting bouts or additional all-stars. Al Snow was nowhere on that poster. So therefore, Al Snow got the last little bit of money that came in that door that night. And sometimes that wasn't much, I'll tell you. And you had to make do with what you had. So
now, as we wrap up, where can the fans see you? Appearances, signings? Where are you going to be at next?
Well, September 30th, I am at Battle in the Creek. I'm excited to come out to that. And then October 28th, I'll be in Lima, Ohio, my hometown. I'm David doing stand-up comedy act. That'll be a little awkward because my mother will be in the audience, so that's going to be fun. And she hates it when I cuss, so I can only imagine what she's acting like when she watches me on the show.
Your tweets are hilarious, by the way. I follow you on Twitter, and they're funny as hell. I love them.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm just, I'm, we'll see how it all pans out. Hopefully we'll get a season 2. I'm going to keep my fingers and my toes and my testicles crossed, hoping that, it really manifests a much larger audience for us here in Louisville and gives us a bunch of more opportunities, W in general.
Well, on behalf of the Dudes Talking Wrestling, we appreciate your time, Al.
Well, thank you guys very much. I appreciate you giving me the time, and I hope you guys have a good evening, and I'll see everybody on September 30th at Battle in the Creek. Okay?
Sounds great, Al. You have a great night.
Thank you.
Take her easy, guys.
You too,
Bye.
sir. Thank you.
5 or 6
Before
bucks.
Devin made our guest leave real quick. It's fine. Now we get to do shenanigans.
Right.
If he's talking, Devin, let him talk. Don't jump to he's got to go. He'll go when he's got to go, not when you tell him to leave,
Well,
dummy.
we gotta go.
We
actually.
gotta
we
go.
gotta
We
go.
don't got time to sit on your little
Y'all
shenanigans.
we gotta split.
Man,
Y'all could have left. You ain't important. You could have just did that. You could have just did that. Anyways, you can also, if you want to meet Al, shut up. I'm plugging stuff. If you want to meet Al Snow before, is it before September 30th? The day after in person, because you can't drive out to Battle Creek because it's a hike. It ain't going to be cheap.
Right.
I'm making Scotty pay for my gas.
Exactly.
Frickin' you can, it is shitty, but I mean, it's in my contract. I don't pay for my gas. So you can meet him down here in Monroe, Michigan, which is, I believe, a city a friend of ours is running for mayor of.
I believe so, yes.
I believe so. That was announced today, so I can spoil that. He's not here anymore to hype himself, so I'll hype him because he thinks he thinks I hate him, but it's fine. I love Dev from Dudes Talking Wrestling. Anyways, I'm digressing. September 31st. Or October 1st, whatever. It's the same date. All right. Technically it's the same thing. October 1st, you can meet Al Snow at Cravings Cards and Collectibles here on 107. What is the street?
East Front Street.
East Front Street. You can meet him live in person. You can ask him any questions we didn't get into. Like, again, he's had a storied career, so there was a lot to talk about. Absolutely. I wanted to talk about the greatest rib ever pulled. We didn't get to, and I'm not going to tell you dummies about it. So,
okay.
With that, folks, well, it's fine.
Well, maybe we should thank the rest of our sponsors.
We should holler out our sponsors.
It's all right.
Well, because we're on a time crunch.
So now we can thank our sponsors.
We're on a time crunch, and Devin had to make people leave on his time.
Tabletop Takedown. We had a fantastic show today.
Hey, thank you.
Had a great time.
So our sponsors, though, first and foremost, are Maya's Fresh Mexican Grill.
Yum.
The Mint Cannabis.
Let's go.
8 Mile Vodka.
Delicious.
The Little Brown Jug.
Amazing.
Lane's Pizza.
Love Lane's.
Sir. FU Wrestling.
The greatest. The best.
We already said Cravings, but we thank Jeff. Craving Sports Cards and Collectibles. IWR. DTW. You just saw those guys. We love them.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And not right now. I'm angry at Dev.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
And our brothers over at Pro Wrestling Edge. We love those guys. Thank you so much.
PWE. Bro, do you guys see what I'm wearing? Do you guys see this? You peeping this? No, not the hat. The hat's great. The hat's great. Brainbuster tees that way. You can't get this anywhere. Yeah, this belt that did not leave my shoulders this past Saturday. In fact, your boy went in there like King Kong and
Colin
just displayed. Yeah, Colin, listen.
If it was
your belt, you wouldn't have lost it, dummy.
Also, you wouldn't have lost it to Josh.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
But now I've retained it 3 times. So if it was your belt, you would have been able to take it from me. I've given plenty of opportunity. And were either of you there this weekend when I dominated again? Oh my God, Spooky's getting the footage all edited up. Bro, I ate those 2 hamburgers, inhaled those nuggets and that pie in like under 5 minutes.
That's absolutely wild.
Oh, bro, I murdered. Like Josh called me out earlier that day. He was like, "Oh man, it's always close." Rah, rah, rah. And I was like, "No, it's because I played around because I'm an entertainer. I beat you. Why goof? I beat you while goofing around. But you want to call me? You want to call me out? You want to call me out on my? All right, go, bro. Let's go. My eating name is Gringo Kobayashi. Okay, that is my pro wrestling eating name. All right, and I came up and I showed out at freaking Monroe Pop Fest. Right, your boy dog under 5 minutes. I went burger, inhaled those. Bro, Josh wasn't even close. Josh is a punk. Josh plays green decks and is a loser.
I heard that there's another food competition coming up. However, we'll be talking about that in a little while.
There is. No, we can talk about it. You can always shout out stuff. These are 2 different episodes. People aren't going to watch them back to back when they click this stuff. That's how you do it. Yeah, but you can also talk about it now. So anyways, we do got an upcoming food event coming up. Why wouldn't we talk about are you going to be there? Are you going to be there?
Possibly.
So is BrainJerk going to be there?
Of course.
Yes.
So of course. So since BrainJerk's sponsoring this event, we should talk about it. It's the Halloween festival, right? What's it called? It's the
Spooktacular. What? Wrestle.
Combat One presents You were reading it.
No, I don't have it on here.
Man, I got to do everything. I'm the professional.
Right.
What is it called? It's called the Spooktacular
No, Wrestle Hunt.
Wrestle Haunt, presented by Combat One.
Told you.
Why didn't you say it?
I did.
Anyways,
Said
I
it finally
digress,
then.
man. It's gonna be at a festival. There's gonna be carnival rides, I believe. Spooky has a haunted house being set up. There's a
Fowler
food
Hill
eating
Family Fair.
contest. Big Mo versus Brutus Atwell. One of those two dummies are gonna end up in this eating contest.
Yeah, whoever wins them. They're having a
Whoever wins
match,
the
right?
match, and then we're
Yeah.
going right
Yeah,
into
yeah,
it.
They're going
We're
from
going
a match
right
to a
into
cereal
it.
eating contest.
Your boy's debuting at Combat One that day. I'm gonna be there, dog. Listen, I'm there.
Spoiler alert.
I'm also, gonna retain my belt because nobody can beat me.
Is the belt on
I'm
the line?
I'm the 140-pound garbage disposal that never fills and never breaks and only thrills. You know what I mean?
You're eating a gigantic bowl of
I'm
chocolate
eating a
cereal.
whole bowl of Count
Well, a box.
Chocula and a half gallon of milk,
I
and
need more
zero
milk than that.
worry from the champ. Zero worry.
He said more milk.
That's my only thought, dog. Is I might want a full gallon, but I don't think they think that people could drink a gallon of milk. But like again, Gringo Kobayashi over here can eat. Dog, I can eat that, bro. I could drink a gallon of milk with a box of Chocula, dog. It's my favorite vampire themed cereal.
Vampire thing.
It's my favorite monster themed cereal. How about that?
Better than Blueberry?
Better than Blueberry. Better than
I'm
Frankenberry.
about to say, what's the other
Definitely
one?
better than Yummy Mummy and Fruit Wolf. And definitely better than Carmella Creeper. All right, get out of here. Oh, you wanted to test your boy's monster cereal? You wanted to test your boy's monster cereal knowledge? Huh? You wanted to go?
Listen, I thought there
You
was like
wanted
three.
to go?
But
You wanted to go?
wow.
Count Chocula is the best. It's why it's the staple. It's why he's the face of the brand.
One.
That's
a
the
different
count.
vampire.
That's the count.
Yeah, Count Chocula.
No, that's the count. And Count Chocula is a different dude. One of them.
Damn it.
It's fine. But yeah, man. So that was dope. We got to talk with Al Snow. We got to hang out with
Absolutely.
Devin and Spooky.
That belt was bigger than Devin. That he was holding.
Bro, he showed me that belt at the Pop Fest.
What exactly was it?
Oh, that's for the athlete of the week for that thing that he
Sports
helps
ball
run.
belt.
Okay.
And yeah, no, they sent him the most ridiculous sized belt ever. Like that's why folks at home, commas and periods are very important, and placing them in the right spot means the world of difference.
Oh, yeah.
You go from something that's wearable,
Like that.
right, to Devin's freaking body armor that he bought. Bro, it covers his full sternum.
It did.
Like it covers
All you
like
seen was his
I
head
put
and the top.
my
pelvis,
armor.
pelvis,
Right.
the nips is covered, dog.
You
Like
seen
it's
his head
huge.
and then you just seen a bunch of silver. Like, what the hell is happening?
But guys, I think with all that,
I found
we're gonna call it.
it. Well, I mean, we'll be back shortly though for.
We do got a live event coming up here in a little bit.
We'll be back shortly.
So we're gonna take a minute. We're gonna hit the green room. We're gonna go greet our guests.
Absolutely.
I've been Jeremiah Goldman,
Scotty, that's
And of course,
me,
Keith.
and this has been Squared Circle Shenanigans
aka Keith.
and the boys.